Before we move on to the rest of the agenda, I thought it'd be nice if we introduced each other, maybe talk a little bit about what we expect to achieve through the Port Authority. So I'll go ahead and begin. My name is Bill Offerman. I'm the village president for the village of Elwood. And the purpose for putting this authority together was not to create a tax, not to make hardship on business, but rather to work together in a cooperative effort between the municipality and the businesses to make sure we can get trucks moved in and out efficiently and as quickly as possible without having them come through municipal streets, and also to identify issues that we might be able to work together as partners on and address those issues.
I'm Doug Junko. Basically, same thing that Bill said. More concerned trucks through town, village residents complaining, stuff like that.
I'm Mike Jacobson with Elwood Distribution. I represent one of the businesses over across 53 on the east side. I can contribute with 40 years experience in running a business in this area.
Don Peggley, a trustee of Elwood. Basically concur with the mayor and Jim.
I'm going to go ahead and work all the way across.
Pardon?
Did you want me or?
Pass the village clerk, just so everybody's aware of who everybody is.
I'm Tom Gilbert, I'm the village attorney.
I'm Bob Shaughnessy, and I'm with Partners Warehouse, and one of the first logistics, I think the first logistics company out here.
I'm Darren Stotts. I'm the GM of the N5 facility in Township.
Hi, I'm Chief Fred Hayes. I report directly to the village manager, Nick Narducci. My role is to support the mayor and board of trustees and address matters of public safety in the village. Pleasure to be here.
Nick Narducci, I'm the village administrator. Basically, we're just trying to manage the facility the way any municipality would manage some facility that they have. This is no different than having a mall or downtown or a riverfront or a college or a zoo. We all have to work together to try and manage that. And I see our job as, I shared with you and stuff the other day, that when you get a truck into the village limits, I think it's our job to make sure you get there as quickly and efficiently and safely as possible to either the rail yard or the warehouse. And when you leave that, same way. That's really our job to do that. That's what we're trying to do. And again, we do have issues with truck safety and things. But again, we're looking to manage the facility, and we can't do that without doing it.
Max Boss, the Director of Engineering and Public Works for the Village of Elwood.
My name is Billy Portbeck. I'm the Assistant General Manager at the Snyder Logistics Building.
I'm Dean Lawrence. I am a village trustee. And my hope is that we have a good working relationship with all the businesses that are in our community, and we have a good community for our residents.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Look forward to an excellent working relationship between everyone. And also for anybody who put in to be put on the board, and whether you were or you weren't selected, the purpose of this is not to have a board and somebody else out in the audience. We want everybody to work together to come up with ideas. So it really doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned whether you're on the board or off the board. We're all working together to make this a better park. All right, let's move on to item number 4, ordinance creating the International Port Authority for the Village of Elwood, Will County, Illinois. There were a couple of items after we put it out to everybody to look at that we thought maybe we should have a couple of changes on. Nick, would you like to address those?
Sure. Tom, do you want to make some general comments about the ordinance?
Yes. I guess I'm the one that's responsible for creating this, so you can direct your complaints at myself as others have. There aren't many port authorities in Illinois of this nature. Do I have to speak to the mic? It makes me nervous. So what we're trying to do is to create something, not that will make everything real legal, but that will make everything easier for all of you to create, make ideas, get ideas to the village as to what you want to do to enhance the property and to enhance the village. What you should all remember is that this document was created by us, adopted by the village. It's an ordinance. Any ordinance the village makes, it can change. Some types of ordinances require hearing dates. This one did not. And for the same reason, you can change an ordinance the same way you create it, which means if you want some changes, we can make them, we can put them on at the workshop and at the next board meeting. And if they make sense, and we can do that. The only one that's really been suggested to me, that's been discussed, and I'll bring it up now because it was from BNSF, was section 19. It's on page 9 in your handbook. So basically, it's fiduciary duty, other ordinances, and quite frankly, just so you know the lawyer's secrets, usually we don't create these documents. We look for what other communities have done, where they've done it, and other places have put a fiduciary duty on the members of the board. And I remember in law school being asked what a fiduciary duty is, and it's a duty of trust. It's a duty to take care of. And in here we put in the best interest of the residents of the village. The attorney for BNSF had some issues. He was going to get some language to me. We've been communicating this evening a little bit. He hasn't yet. But if you look in here, it says, in the best interest of the residents of the village. My suggestion was one of two things. I gave him two choices. We could make it in the best interest of the village, period. And that way we're taking care of the business, we're taking care of the interest of business, the interest of the residents. We could eliminate it altogether also. I don't think it defeats the document to take it out. Again, since this is the first meeting, these are things that perhaps we want to consider. We want to keep it in there. I can tell you as a lawyer that it still would be presumed that all of you as board members would have a duty to the village to act fairly and look out for what's in the best interest of all. We've just recited it in here. Any
Yes,
questions?
Just one. It sounds like the question had to do with conflict of interest between someone representing a business and is on the board. Isn't a business a resident of the city as well, of the village as well?
That's why if I took the word residents out and I say of the village, it encompasses all of you. And it depends on the context. If it was all simple, the lawyers wouldn't have a living.
The only thing I wanted to add on the memo, that somebody picked this up, was in the ordinance it says that, and I pointed that out in section 22, collection of tolls, we cannot collect tolls for infrastructure improvements. And we wanted to change that is we're not going to toll for any purpose. You know, the purpose of this is to not toll. And that's, we can run this organization, this facility, without charging tolls. So we wanted to make that one change. Tom talked about 19. 13, and that's up for discussion. And then the other suggested item is, what we had, after we discussed this a little bit, what we would like to do is to establish a trucking committee and deal with the trucking firms so that we can get their input also. So we'd like to establish like a standing committee that advises this Port Authority, that has one member of the Port Authority from the trustees that's on it, one member of the Port Authority, and 3 people from the trucking industry. Hopefully, we could get an independent trucker and some of the larger trucking firms so that we can kind of get both views. But again, we're looking at the same type of thing where we want their input. We want to know what their problems are in doing business here in the village, and anything we could do to make things run a little bit smoother. But our basic concern is all of you who are constituents and property owners here. We have to kind of get your views out and your comments, but we would like to hear from them so that they're part of this business and we don't know what problems they're running into.
Question on the tolls. What if collecting tolls is one of the legitimate answers to one of the problems we see?
Then we got to amend the ordinance, and everybody has to vote on it by supermajority. So, it can't be just 4 members of the board that vote on it. Some business here has to vote for it also.
I'll bring that up because it says that 2 or 3 times within the documents that I was sent. And in the end, that might be an answer. I don't know that it is, but it might be.
Okay, we'd have to amend that. So that's, Mayor, that's all our comments, and we're looking for your input on this. And what we'd like to do is to have all of you kind of go through this. And does anybody have any other comments on the ordinance itself? Review that and any language?
Is this the time that, yeah, I have a few. Maybe that doesn't surprise you. Maybe because it takes me a while to understand all this. But if I might, flip through here real quick and look at my notes. Okay, on section 9, page 5 of the ordinance, compliance with law. It states there 9.02, all law enforcement officers of the state shall have the same powers and jurisdictions within the boundaries of the court as they have in their respective areas. Hate to get too technical on it, but that would mean, that states any law enforcement officer in the state can come here and have jurisdiction when they don't have it now.
It says all law officers of the state,
Of
not
the
in the
state.
state.
Pardon?
It's going to be the state of Illinois Police.
Oh, okay, not county.
Doesn't say in, it says of.
Okay.
County has jurisdiction there.
Yes.
County does have jurisdiction.
Yes.
Okay, but how about another county? Cook County? They're an officer.
This would not permit Cook County to have any jurisdiction.
Okay, if that's the way, but I understand it to say any law enforcement officer of the state. So Cook County is a law enforcement officer of the state.
Well, they're actually a law enforcement officer of the Cook County Sheriff's Department.
Okay. So,
Would be my way of interpreting it.
yeah,
They're in the state, not of the state.
okay.
I had the same conversation with
Oh, did you? Okay, so you worked this out, okay. All right, now, you're more familiar with this stuff than I am.
Is that why I recalled it so quickly?
I had a couple of notes on that, so I'll skip over that because you've answered it. Page 8, section 16, quorum and voting. There in the bottom of that paragraph, it says a supermajority shall be required to assess any fees, taxes, or charges. Now that comes back, I think, to what I understood is we wouldn't implement or have.
Right, this board
authority.
makes a recommendation to the village board,
So,
so we might want to change that language a little bit.
Yeah, and I would, or you could have a super majority of this board to even make the recommendation.
Yeah, we could write it that way.
okay. Next page, page 9, section 20, compensation. It establishes an amount of $2,500, not to exceed that amount in expending funds for whatever you need to do individually. And I was just questioning whether $2,500 is sufficient in all cases. I mean, if one of the board members were sent somewhere for a trip to investigate something, you could quickly exceed $2,500. And I have no idea what we will be doing at this point, when we'll be expending money, but it just seems to me that maybe we should change it from a limit to prior approval of any expenditure by the president of the board or the village board.
As I understand it, the funding would come from the village board anyway, so the village board would have to approve it.
Right.
Prior
We're not
to
raising
expense-
money here, so.
Yeah,
We have no money to spend here, so
so,
everything has to be routed.
So the question is, why is this in here?
no, not why.
Good question.
The limit, the $2,500. It just, if it's gonna be approved before we spend it, why put a limit on it? The $2,500 might not be sufficient.
Well, you know what? Better than that, I think we should change it to put in that the Port Authority may request compensation for expenses of the board members from the village. And leave it at that.
Okay.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, concludes my questions.
Anyone else? Well, what we'll do then is we'll hold off on all of these. We'll have a list of them next time we get together. If you have any other changes, just email them to us, or, you know, we could talk at any time.
Or email them to me.
We've already had meetings with someone, so we could certainly meet with the individual.
Because the only way we can find out how good this document is by running it like we're doing and having these questions asked. And so it's helpful to me. But we will get an ordinance that will meet what we need and at the same time not oversee what we're trying, not exceed what we're trying to do.
All right, any further questions or comments on that? We'll move on to item number 5, the Illinois Commerce Commission rail crossing issues at the Illinois Route 53 Walter Strawn Union Pacific Railroad crossing. Nick?
I sent all of you a lot of information. I don't know if you've had time to digest it or not, but basically we have an issue. We've had some communications with the Illinois Commerce Commission, the Transportation Bureau on Rail Safety, and there was an incident on our rail crossing at Walter Strawn and the Union Pacific Railroad. And basically what happened was there was a truck straddling the railroad tracks when an Amtrak train was coming through. And the engineer just seen him through line of sight. There was no warning or anything, and he slowed down. And once the UP did all this investigation that you're seeing here, all these pictures, and they took care of all this. And what happened was, prior to this, they were breaking a number of gates. The trucks were coming eastbound on Walter Strawn, and if they had a green light, they would just continue to go, and then the funeral processions would come by, and they would have to stop, by law. Well, they were already straddling the tracks, so the gates would come down, and they would break the gates. Now, this year, in 2013, 47 times they've had to replace those gates for this happened. Prior to that, it was even higher than 47. We're down, from last year. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at that issue. The ICC has recommended that we close the rail crossing, and we wanted to hear from all of you. We want your comments on how that affects your business, and we want some ideas from all of you as to what to do and how to alleviate this. It's a very difficult situation. It's a safety concern. It's a safety concern for all of you, for the truckers that come in and out, for our residents. And what we told the ICC is we'd like to meet with all of you to get your comments on it, to see how this affects your business, and see if you have some suggestions for us. You're logistics people, and this is an important issue for us. And Max, if you could put up that one with the, I think all of you guys know, here, that one, there, that's the big issue. It's, one of the problems we have is none of this was designed to be an intermodal facility. It was, you have the, when this was presented to the ICC initially, there was a limit of 1,700 semis that were going to come across this crossing by 2023, and there was only supposed to be 700 at this time. So after they experienced this and they went out there, they said, this is way more, than we have bargained for. But it's here, we got to deal with this. But you can see what's basically happening is you have to stop, the truckers have to stop for the funerals that are coming in here. And the trucks are coming by. I can't blame a trucker, the light's green, they just keep going. So we made some changes there. Chief, maybe you could explain what we did, or Max?
Sure. Some of the issues, just to kind of expand on what Nick is talking about, involve ingress and egress from the park. So this actually happens whether inbound or outbound. The particular situation that he was just describing is for vehicles that are egressing the park. And we've had a lot of difficulty, as you can see on this slide here, where there's trucks hung up on the rail crossing, and then the gates come down and break on the vehicle that's straddling the crossing. But the funeral procession's going southbound on Route 53 towards Abraham Lincoln Cemetery and Hoff Road. There's a conflict then. The conflict is commercial truck traffic, which is trying to get over into the right passenger lane, southbound on 53, so that they can make their right turn into the industrial park, are conflicted with the funeral procession that's southbound in that same lane. And what has happened several times